Stanley Kubrick's iconic psychological horror film is regarded as one of, if not the best, horror movies of all time. Based off of Stephen King's 1977 novel of the same name, there are few films that ever reach the level of brilliance demonstrated in The Shining. Critics and audiences alike have agreed there's something special about Kubrick's film, some sense of macabre fascination that truly separates it from other projects. As a horror fan myself, I have seen almost every cliche, every jump scare, and every trick in the book that has been overused time and time again. Indeed, I have watched countless cinematic horrors, and yet none quite reach the degree of brilliance that The Shining does. The film's premise revolves around a young family of three, Jack and Wendy Torrance and their young son Danny. The story begins when Jack accepts a unique job which involves relocating his family to inhabit the Overlook Hotel Resort during its winter season shutdown. The family agrees to be the sole caretakers during these winter months. As the job transpires, the family is subjected to an array of ghastly terrors, from sinister glimpses into the Overlook's past and the gradual descent to homicidal madness within Jack. Jack ultimately becomes overtaken by the evil of the hotel, now determined to destroy his wife and child. Throughout spiritual encounters with clairvoyants both in the hotel and himself, Danny, along with his mother, escape his father and leave him to freeze to death in the harsh elements of the Colorado winter. As a visual work of art, The Shining can be seen as a quintessential example of the key components that create a film. These distinct elements are the creative choices of those that create a film, choices that work in harmony to convey a message. For The Shining, this message is that of terror. This message is articulated through various repeating elements, themes if you will. Family and madness are prominent aspects of this film's story. As the movie focuses on merely three characters for the majority of its runtime, we are given an intimate look into the dynamics of this family. Viewers are presented with the darkness of familial abuse through the monster of Jack's alcoholism and neglect. We are shown how abusively Jack treats both Wendy and Danny. Throughout the film, we see that the two consider Jack as a man to avoid, to fear. The horror of insanity is demonstrated through Jack, as his mind descends to lethal extremes. Jack is shown wrestling with the evils in his life as the film opens. He shows desire to overcome the damage he has caused. Throughout the film's runtime, however, he evolves from a man trying to run from his mistakes to one that rather blames such faults on his family. Jack's arc is indeed a tragedy, how a man can succumb to his demons and fail as a father. A horror film essentially serves the purpose of creating entertainment through the excitement of thrilling tension. The more dread an audience experiences, the more thrill they will find. Indeed, an aspect of a horror film's success can be evaluated through its ability to efficiently incite fear. A film like The Shining is a key example of just how potent the cinematic fear can be. The efficiency in the horror of The Shining lies in its themes of family and madness. These ideas are special due to their widespread relatability. Our sense of worth is largely defined on those we love, whether it be our partners, children, parents, and so on. These shared values are why the horror of a destroyed family is so efficient at scaring us. This sinister tragedy is one far more personally tangible than most other of conventional horror films. Personal fear is deeply effective due to how it lingers in our minds. The scares of, say, a conventional slasher film do not resonate nearly as deeply or for as long in comparison. While watching a cast of naive campers flee from a deadly killer does prove frightening to most, it tends to leave our minds as quickly as it arrived. Rather, the horror of a broken family, a very personal fear, resonates deeply within our minds. The psychological thrill of these sorts of scares are ones we will not forget. I believe that The Shining is perhaps as impactful a film as a film can be. The Shining indeed paved the way for contemporary horror. Its impact is evident in both high and low culture. References to the film can be seen throughout the media, from Family Guy to Quentin Tarantino. The horror of The Shining was infamously palpable, as I mentioned, so much so that it has remained relevant in the public eye to this day. The film is over 40 years old, but its influence is still readily apparent in modern pop culture. Indeed, the terror placed in the hearts of viewers was so impactful that The Shining's significance carries on as we speak. Part of why The Shining is so great is due to its inspiring nature. As an incredible work of cinema, those who wish to contribute to film themselves can look to great films of the past, just like The Shining, to gain wisdom towards how to articulate their own vision. The Shining demonstrates what makes a great film to those who wish to make their own great films. Studying the various techniques of the production utilized in The Shining can serve as a priceless teacher for the filmmakers of tomorrow. Inspiration from such a film manifests beyond just the interest of filmmakers, I believe. The efficiency of horror in The Shining serves as an artistic message, a daunting warning of the tragedy of familial dysfunction. I believe one can interpret the fantastical horrors of this film as a vivid metaphor for this story's warning. Indeed, true art speaks to anyone who's willing to listen.